Hello, so my name is David Raven. I'm an emergency medicine consultant at the Heart of England NHS Foundation Trust, and I'm making this video to hopefully introduce you to HECTOR. Basically, HECTOR is a research project that I'm leading on at the minute from Birmingham Heartlands Hospital, which stands for Heartlands Elderly Care Trauma and Ongoing Recovery Programme. Now, the essence of HECTOR is to try and improve outcomes for elderly patients who've had fairly significant injuries and who've been coming into our hospital and may not have traditionally been receiving the best kind of care that they could have received. What we found is, going back to 2011, going up until present day, is that this elderly cohort of patients, so patients over the age of 65, they've become more and more prevalent, and going back to 2011 we had about 30% of our trauma patients were over the age of 65, whereas now we're looking at kind of 40 to 45%. So it kind of has raised an issue with us in terms of, are we actually in a place to be delivering good care from an emergency department perspective, but also going onto the wards. And you know, to tell you about myself, I've recently been the trauma unit lead clinician at Heartlands Hospital, responsible for putting data onto TARN, which is the Trauma Audit Research Network. And a lot of that data we've been analysing, we've been really scrutinising to sort of try and establish patterns and identify issues. And really going back to 2000 and sort of late 2012, we started noticing that we had quite a few complications in patients who were over the age of 65 with significant injuries, and we found that a lot of those patients actually weren't getting to theatre, they weren't needing operative intervention, it was just that they were on the wards and they may have had delayed diagnosis of injury because we weren't thinking about it when they arrived in the ED, or it may be that they've been admitted to the hospital with significant trauma and developing complications later on. So we kind of looked at that data and thought, we need to do something about this. We can't just sit still and try and do what we've always done, otherwise we're not going to address this issue. So we looked at kind of everything. So HECTOR is basically a service level intervention which looks at improving outcomes in terms of complications, length of stay, mortality for patients over the age of 65. And our service level intervention is looking at the acute care, so when patients arrive within the emergency department, make sure that we're doing the right thing for them in terms of our assessment, you know, what imaging we're using, whether we're discussing them with the right people or not, and then going on to the wards and making sure that that ward-based care is consistent, it's standardised, and it's looking at absolutely everything that could affect that individual. Now, in terms of HECTOR, I have to plug us and plug our Twitter account so you can have a look at what we're doing in a bit more detail. We have developed a course programme to try and a manual to all the educational tools that we've tried to develop and all of the learning that we've acquired over the last few years. We want to get that out, and we want to make people know about this and make sure that they're aware that this is an issue and it needs to be addressed. So the purpose of these videos is hopefully to educate you and convince you that we do need to change, and we can't still rely on ATLS or ETC and a standardised one-size-fits-all approach, because everybody's unique, everyone's an individual, and as we get older we may acquire more comorbidities, we may be on different tablets, our bodies, our anatomies change, and the whole way in which we respond to injury is completely different, and we need to take that into account when we're addressing and helping these individuals. So with the purpose of video and using the YouTube to put these videos up, I'm going to be using a few things to try and make you aware of why this is important. So the things that we're going to be using are eggs and infants. Potentially a very, very messy combination, but luckily my wife's at work today, so I get to create quite a bit of mess and hopefully have fun in the meantime. I have to stress that no kids were harmed in the making of these videos which follow, and they have had obviously full parental consent, which is me, so they haven't had a say in this at all. But no, on a serious note, I hope that we can demonstrate to you why this is important. Just simple sort of demonstrations, and that you take heed, start listening, and hopefully start looking at how we can improve care. Okay, thank you.